Hi guys, it's Erin. Today I thought I would do a flower focus video on stock. Mostly because this is the last week, especially for this patch. I have another patch over there that I might have one more week, but it's getting up into the 80s and the weather just staying warm. These flowers don't like that, so I won't have them very much longer. So I wanted to talk to you about them while we still have them. So, so stock. This is one of my favorite spring flowers. The scent on these, the reason that I grow them, one is for all these beautiful fluffy blooms. Of course, ideally the stem is straight, but the stems are so romantic in a bouquet. It's just, they make you really, me anyways, they make me want to reach in and touch it. The other reason that I grow them is the scent. They are just intoxicating. I know I've talked about it in the past, but it bears repeating that the scent on these flowers, especially the doubles, is so intense. It's a sweet clove scent, and it's just, it's magical. I can't get enough of it. When it's blooming in the garden, all I want to do is stand downwind or gather a whole bunch of it and just smell it over and over again. It's just that good. So a few basic things about a stock is that it's a cool season flower. It does not like the temperatures like they are right now. It's late June, almost July, and it's pretty warm. It's, like I said, it's been in the 80s. It's going to stay in the mid to upper 70s pretty much from here through August probably. Which I love, and most of the flowers that I have growing right now also love, but stock, not so much. Another thing specific about stock is that it's a one cut bloom. There are some varieties out there, I've not grown them, that get multiple blooms, but in general, when you're buying stock, it's a single stem flower. So whatever you do when it's growing up little, don't pinch it, otherwise you're just cutting off your profits and all of the flowers as you go. These guys, they come, when you buy a packet of seed, it's going to say, give you a germination or a percentage generally of how many doubles versus singles that you'll get. And most varieties, even as the best selected varieties, are 50-50. So whenever you're sowing stock, you want to make sure that you sow twice as much as you think you're going to need. And if you're really shooting for doubles, there is a process, a method to checking to see if the seedlings that you do have growing are doubles or singles, and you can rogue out the ones that are just singles. It's painstaking, and I don't have the time for that, so it's not going to happen to me. I'm just going to grow enough that I can have enough of the doubles. And actually, to me, the singles are also pretty. They don't disappear, and they have the same scent, though maybe not quite as strong as the doubles, but definitely still beautiful and still has that gorgeous clovey scent. So the varieties that I have grown this year, this is Cat's Double White. Love this. Again, despite the crooked neck, that's my fault. I didn't trellis it up in time and it flopped over. This one I wish I had a better example right now. This one has some of the biggest plumes of flowers, and it's kind of loose and it moves a lot. It's really, really beautiful. It looks fantastic in a bouquet, especially in arrangement. Less so than just a market bouquet. It looks gorgeous in a market bouquet, don't take that the wrong way, but this is definitely a type that would look fantastic in all kinds of like wedding or flower arranging type applications. The other ones, that's the only cat that I think that I grew this year, and it's gorgeous and I love it, and I will definitely grow this again. The other ones that I've grown, these are all the iron series, And the colors in the iron series are really dramatic. This one is an iron rose. We had a light pink and purple. All of them are incredibly saturated colors. They do tend to have a more upright and dense flower stalk, which is great, especially market bouquets. They do really well, but they have big full plumes. There's a few back here that you could maybe see, and they are gorgeous and they're really stiff. Don't have to do a whole lot of work to keep them upright. When I harvest stock, like the cat stock specifically, I will cut the stems in the coolest part of the day that I can, and then after I get a bunch of them, I'll lay them down much like I do snapdragons. I'll lay them in a bundle, wrap them with paper, and then we'll tie them off, band them together, wrap them with craft paper, and put them upright in the cooler so that they will harden basically upright and they won't flop over quite like this one did on me. It's much similar to the snapdragons, though with the cat or the iron series I haven't really had to do that near as much as the cat's formula, but it's totally worth it. It's not that big of a deal. Another thing about stock is that you're gonna have a really long vase life. At least in my experience, I have some that I've cut a week and a half ago and they're still looking gorgeous. Their scent fades after a few days, but the gorgeous blooms are still there and they still do everything that you want them to in an arrangement. If you have a cooler where you're gonna cut them and store them, I wouldn't do that more than a day or two before you're gonna use them. If you want the scent, because that scent will fade. It won't last very long, especially if you cool them. You'll cut them, they'll sit in the cooler and they'll come back out and they won't smell at all in a couple of days. But they will hold like that for at least 3 or 4 days before you want to really get to using them. But like I said, they have a really long vase life once you put them in the arrangement. They're really one of the best early spring flowers. I've also recently, someone asked me in one of the comments about sowing some for the fall. And as far as I know, I've never done that. I've seen it done. Other people have given it a shot. I would have a harder time just simply because they want to grow cool and I don't really have that available in the summertime. But if you live in a cooler place, then certainly give it a try. And flowers, these blooming in the fall would be amazing. I have, these take about, between 90 and 100 days, give or take 120 days, especially if you're doing it later in the season, from seed to bloom. But these in this zone, in 8B, where I'm at in the Pacific Northwest, I have grown these and overwintered them once before. They didn't fare super well, kind of like the snapdragons. I think the rain and rabbits may have gotten to some of them, but they're cool flower, but they're hardy enough, at least in my zone, that they will, with some frost cloth protection, you can overwinter them and they'll bloom even earlier in the spring. With stronger root systems, bigger, taller stems, all the good stuff that comes with cool flowers. I think that I might give that another try this season. I'm a bit more organized than I have been in the past, which is kind of a miracle, but I think I want to give that a shot. There's quite a few cool flowers that I want to give another try this season going into next. My goal really is to miss that, or fill in that gap between the early season blooms and the summer blooms, so I don't have quite such a lull. But anyways, back to the flowers. Again, like I said, the flowers, they germinate very readily. I don't ever really have an issue with not having germination, but you have to be aware that you're going to have a mix of both doubles and singles, and depending on your application, it may or may not be worth it to you to split apart and go through the process of roguing out the single stems. Like I said, for me, it's just not worth it. I can use everything on here. Let me see, was there anything else that I wanted to cover? Oh, and there's another thing. So stock it's part of the brassica family, which is like broccoli and cauliflower and cabbage and whatnot. So this flower, as much as it smells amazing in the blooms, when it sits in water, it can tend to start to stink like a cabbage would. So one really important, there's a couple different things that you can do. One is to get the CVBM, something, they're little like chlorine tablets that you can put into your buckets of water with these in it, and it kind of helps with that action. Or what I tend to do is just change the water regularly. After you cut them, they'll turn the water kind of yellow and it'll start to sink after a couple of days. So it's just a matter of changing the water regularly to keep that from being a problem. Yeah, I think that's about everything I wanted to talk about. These, like I said, these are one of my absolute favorite spring flowers. They're short-lived. They only started blooming a couple weeks ago and now they're already finishing up. But they're worth the space in the garden. And now once they're bloomed, because they're a single stem, I will cut them down and I will just plant something else, probably sunflowers, in their place. It's a fairly quick bed flip, if that's what you're going for, succession sowing or succession planting of flowers all season long. They're just fantastic. I encourage every single one of you out there to give them a try if you haven't already. Again, cool season flowers, you're gonna have to deal with singles and doubles. The scent is worth everything that it takes, and then change the water all the time. Okay guys, if you have any other questions, something I didn't talk to about stock, any questions that you have, leave them in the comments and I do try to get back to everybody. And yeah, if you like this, hit the like button. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye guys.